morning, Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you to Abu Dhabi Finance Week for inviting me to speak today. I've been looking at the GCC for over 30 years, and this really is an extraordinary time for Abu Dhabi, and I'm very delighted to highlight some points. So, Abu Dhabi's economy is booming. It's benefiting from earlier investments that are supporting growth and supporting the diversification of the economy. On top of that, we've had broad-based structural reforms and business-friendly policies, strong decision-making as well. We remain highly positive on the medium and longer-term growth outlook for Abu Dhabi. The focus remains very much on developing new tech sectors, high-tech, knowledge-based sectors that will continue to broaden and deepen the economy. We're seeing that in investments, we're seeing that in policies, we're seeing that in investments, bringing in capital transfers and technology back into the country. The balance sheet of the government is very strong, debt levels are low, and that makes Abu Dhabi in a very strong position to manage global uncertainties and maneuver any external risks. We continue to see Abu Dhabi and the UAE continuing to outperform globally, both developed economies and emerging economies. I have some slides that I'd like to highlight. The first I'd like to highlight is that since the pandemic, Abu Dhabi has seen average growth over the last 3 years of close to 9%. That's extraordinary. It's not just catching up from the pandemic, but it's also very strong growth on top of that. So if we compare, if you look at the second chart on the presentation, if we look at where the economy was, the non-oil economy in 2023, it was 13% higher than the pre-pandemic level, and the pace of growth has accelerated. The key sectors that continue to diversify the economy include areas such as construction, manufacturing, and of course, financial services. This reflects the role that the Abu Dhabi global markets has made for deepening and strengthening financial markets. And again, if we looked at the breakdown of the growth in these areas, construction is 13% higher. We've got manufacturing about 14% higher than the pre-pandemic level, and financial services close to 13% higher. We continue to see ongoing investments, and growth this year, first half of the year, is close to 6% year on year. One of the key areas that has been driving that is transportation. We've had the opening of the airport, the new terminal last year. We're seeing passenger numbers increase, and that's also boosting other sectors as well. Visitor numbers to Abu Dhabi are up in the double digits, and we can see in the second chart, that's occupancy levels. Occupancy levels in the first 10 months of the year were up close to 10%. They averaged 77%. That's higher than the rest of the GCC and the UAE as a whole. You can also see the occupancy is increasing over the summer period as Abu Dhabi becomes more of a global year-round destination. You can see this in the facilities, in the museums, in the theme parks that are indoor, and this is only going to expand. It's becoming a year-round destination. You are also seeing businesses and companies moving here. The favorable business environment, the favorable business regulations as well. When we speak to our clients, one thing we keep hearing is the support of the government entities to establish the international law, the ease of doing business. Sarah mentioned it before, the number of operating companies in the first 9 months of the year up around 33%. So that is significant. What does this also mean? We've seen the data you see in the second chart is Abu Dhabi Commercial Bank, our own proprietary data. And this shows spending by our credit cards and debit cards, but also merchant acquiring. And this is increasing by double digits. It has done since the pandemic. And this reflects not only strong domestic spending as the population grows, as it's more skilled and high-earning population, but also as the tourism sector goes. So we can see that consumption is growing very, very strongly. And there's a focus on developing new sectors of the economy. I mentioned earlier the investment vehicles of Abu Dhabi government. You're seeing them going out, focusing on key sectors, financial services, artificial intelligence, transportation, clean and renewable energy. These are to list a few. Life sciences. They're bringing back technology, they're bringing back companies, and again, population growth and further diversification of the economy. I have a few slides on how quickly things have been changing. The second chart that you see up on the presentation is an indication of energy transition. While we are focusing on economic diversification, Abu Dhabi, in our view, will continue to play a central role as a source of energy globally. But this shows the move towards clean and renewable energy. You see that in 2018, less than 1% of domestic power generation came from renewable and clean sources. That rose to 2.5% in 2019. Last year, it's risen to about 40%. That shows in a matter of years how quickly that has changed. We continue to see investment. Last year, Abu Dhabi awarded projects of close to $50 billion US. Already in the first 9 months, it's close to 25 billion. This will continue to support future growth. The diversification of the energy source here is not only relevant for our net carbon targets, but also for reducing the carbon footprint of manufacturing exports, whether it's metals, whether it's downstream. And this remains very critical at a time of energy transition. Another area that we've seen strong investment, regulatory developments, and infrastructure development is on AI. These charts are by Oxford University and other global think tanks. The lower the score, the better. It shows vibrancy, development. So it's not only Abu Dhabi leading on a GCC basis, it's also a key player globally. We're already seeing improvements in areas such as productivity, reduced carbon emissions of ADNOC. I'm running out of time, so just one more slide. At a time of global fragmentation, you're seeing more and more integration by Abu Dhabi and the UAE. One of the areas that make us particularly positive are the CEPA agreements that are being organized with various companies. So you're seeing deeper integration at a time when the world is moving in the opposite direction. FDI rose over 30% to UAE last year. It was over 6% of GDP. That, with the strong balance sheets, the reforms, we think Abu Dhabi is in a strong position globally, and we expect the growth to continue. Thank you very much, and it's been a pleasure to speak to you this morning. Thank you.